Hello everyone and welcome to Hill Street. Today's story is The Path of Darkness. If you end up enjoying this story, please leave a like. And if you enjoy hearing stories from me, please subscribe and become a resident of Hill Street and let me know how I'm doing in the comments. Now, let's get to this nightmare. I lived in a small town in Alberta, Canada. The city wasn't very populated. It was only known for its many factories. I worked at one of the factories on the weekends. My job was to schedule deliveries and alike, so it was usually a pretty chill job. The factory was located a kilometer inside a forest. I want to mention that this forest gets pitch black at night. Needless to say, I usually walked to work, given that my house wasn't too far away from the path. One usual evening, I was preparing for work. I was packing my work equipment and putting on my uniform. I was almost late, so I left in a hurry. I grabbed my stuff and slammed the door before power walking towards the path. It was a usual evening outside. Not a lot of people to be seen. Only a few people walking their dogs and some teenagers hanging around at the local supermarket. The path was in sight and I walked down the path. I wasn't scared of the path. I had used it every weekend for 2 years now, so it was normal for me. Halfway down the path, I had to turn on my flashlight. I continued down the path before entering through the main entrance. I took the elevator up to the second floor and went to my workstation. After a few hours of work, me and my coworker went for a break. We got inside the break room to watch the news. Apparently, a psychopath had escaped an asylum located not too far from my town. We weren't too skeptical about it, because a lot of weird stuff happens around here. Once, a kid was attacked by a wolf. Luckily, he wasn't harmed too bad. We went back to our workstations and continued on with our work. My shift was short this night, so I didn't have much more work to do. An hour later or so, I packed my stuff up, completely tired out. I said goodbye to my coworkers before taking the elevator down. On my way out, I said goodbye to the security and left out the main entrance. I was making my way down the path, slowly. Out of nowhere, I heard a stick crack. My tiredness went away quickly, as this path usually was the most quiet and peaceful place on earth. My worst concern was a bear, so I kept on moving faster. As I was halfway through, it clicked. The guy who escaped the asylum out of town was out here. He was crawling through this darkness. I gasped and moved on even faster. I felt as if I was watched. I would always hear these small sounds. The end of the path came in sight. Only 300 meters to go, I said to myself as I almost sprinted. Maybe I shouldn't have walked that fast because it resulted in me tripping over a rock. My knees got hurt very bad, so I crawled into a ball in pain. Suddenly, the quietness got interrupted. I heard a scream. It wasn't scream you normally think of. No, this was a murderous scream. It was like an animal screaming in hunger before eating its prey. I got scared and immediately stood up and ran. I ignored all pain. I sighed in relief as I finally made it to the end of the path. I took a quick glance down the path, only to see complete darkness. I continued down the street, the empty, lifeless street. Nobody was walking their dog anymore. No teenagers. Nobody was to be seen. I was out here, all alone, or at least, I thought I was alone. As I reached my door, my heart sank. The door was shut, but it wasn't locked. I tried to remember if I locked the door, but got to the conclusion that I didn't, because I was in such a hurry, leaving for work. I checked the house, just so that I could feel safe before going to sleep. After 45 minutes, I still couldn't sleep. Something felt off, but I didn't think much of it, as I was so tired. Suddenly, I heard the front door open. I flinched silently. It was clear that whoever entered didn't want to be heard. Slowly, I crawled under my bed and started praying. The small footsteps got louder and louder. I was trying to breathe silently, but it still felt loud. The moonlight shined through the windows of my room, so it was easy for me to look at the crack under my door. I could see 2 feet, definitely not shoes, just bare feet. The door slowly opened and the person entered the room. It was now clear who it was. It was the psychopath escapee from the asylum. I was staying as quiet as possible. He stood there for a few minutes. No movement at all, just stood there. Finally, the psychopath left my room. I could hear him leaving my house. My phone was on silent mode in the pocket of my jacket, and I was too scared to get up and get it. So I decided to stay under the bed. My room was finally starting to brighten up from the sun. I got out and called the police. When they arrived, I told them everything. They already had most troops out searching for the bastard, so they couldn't really do much more. I decided to visit my friends out of town and sleep at their house. Today, it was 5 years ago, this tragedy happened. I moved far away from the town it happened in and quit my job. I don't feel safe though. The man was never found. I do still get nightmares frequently, and they feel very realistic. I haven't used the dark path since that day, and nor will I ever do so. The man is still out there, so be alarmed. This guy killed people in the worst way possible.